Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about schedule restriction on Grubhub. So in one of the comments of one of my videos on block scheduling specifically, someone was asking me about schedule restriction, which is what brought this video to you today. That said, I have not experienced schedule restriction myself. I have not had this issue personally, but we are going to talk about it. So with that said, we are going over everything you must know about schedule restriction on Grubhub, what they tell you versus how it actually is, and everything in between. But before we do that, let's go over a quick disclaimer. The content of this video does not contain, is never intended to be, legal, business, financial, tax, or health advice of any kind. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is advised that you conduct your own research and consult qualified professionals before applying anything you find online. Also, I want to be very clear that everything that we're going to be going over in this video is very market dependent on what applies to me, and my market may not apply to you. So with that said, let's get started. What is schedule restriction? Schedule restriction happens when a driver behaves in a way to deliberately avoid delivering offers while on a block in effort to earn the hourly guarantee without attempting to deliver orders. To be clear, this isn't just not showing up for your block for whatever reason. This isn't you being outside of your zone while doing another delivery, and because of that you missed the start of your block because you're on multiple apps. This is actually very similar to the earn by time hack on Doordash, where you're intentionally taking longer to get paid more with the guaranteed earnings, which is just straight fraud. Am I still allowed to work? Yes, drivers are free to drive for as long as they wish and whenever they wish without a block by simply toggling available. Working without a block does not impact the pay rate for orders or tips. What it does do is simply make it so you won't be able to go on block, and a lot of drivers have found being on block actually affects the order flow on the platform, and by a lot. Experienced drivers on the app know that being on block will give them priority to receive offers. Whether the offers are good or not is a different conversation, but still. That said, it doesn't affect the tips or the base pay of the orders you do receive. It just means you're getting the table scraps in comparison to those who are on block and they have priority to receive those orders first. If you don't know much about block scheduling yourself, I made a video talking all about that. I will leave that in the description. Feel free to check that out. What actions can lead to schedule restrictions? Actions include, but are not limited to, not being in your delivery area or falsifying your location to avoid orders being offered. Now, quick note on that. There's a difference between not being in your area in order to do multiple apps and multiple different deliveries, and falsifying your location and not being in your area to avoid orders altogether. Two different worlds. Continually making yourself unavailable during your block to avoid orders. If you're going offline, then go offline. It's okay. But don't do so in such a way to where you're going to not receive offers. Even if you're like in the middle of an offer, sometimes they'll send you an offer anyway. That's kind of annoying, and I agree with you there, but if you do that, they're gonna get all uppity about it too. Not properly updating the status of your orders to make it look like it's taking longer than it actually is to avoid orders. Again, that's the earn by time hack in a Grubhub brand. Now, to be clear, as somebody who has been multi-apping for a long time, I never once had an issue where I was out of my area for a while, even on block. Especially when I lived outside of my zone. I used to live just outside of my zone enough to where I couldn't actually be considered in my zone when I was online, and that was really annoying until they shifted all the areas and then I was in my zone. That was kind of lucky. I imagine this is only for people who try to game the system, and it's very obvious that they're trying to game the system and then make certain orders longer than it should be, or suddenly their phone is on airplane mode so they can head back to receive orders while they're still considered in the area. And those people are just straight scamming the system and suck altogether. How long am I schedule restricted? Schedule restriction is permanent. I looked around to see if you could call like support or something, or if you can know somebody or something, see if there's any like workarounds to this. No, once you're out, you're out. There's no reversing it. There's no playing games. You're out. That said, though, if someone does find a way to get back in, Let me know in the comments. Hopefully that'll help some people that got schedule restricted and probably shouldn't have been. Now, I do have a few side notes that I would like to go over on this subject. You're playing the game wrong. If you're somebody who's trying to capitalize on the scheduling system specifically and trying to drag the orders out just for getting the guaranteed payment, why? You can make so much more if you are just taking profitable orders and not playing into that system. Why make the guaranteed $9 per hour when you could wait for an order that is paying way more than that? Really, why bother? Let's have that conversation. Literally during this recording, I received an order for $35 for a stacked order with 5 different drop-offs. Would I take an order like that on Uber? No. But that would still have a better ROT or return on time than just trying to game the system like that. I mean, what are you doing? Now, if you're in NYC and Seattle, this is a different conversation because they have their own hourly rate systems there. But all the more reason to make sure no one is gaming the system on Grubhub side. So don't F around and find out. Not deactivation. Although it does affect your priority and your order flow because you can't get on block, keep in mind, this is not deactivation. You can still toggle on, you can still get orders. I know we went over that. At least it's still available to you. On your lucky stars, DoorDash would just deactivate you straight up. At least they only restrict your access to scheduling. Will the orders you receive be good orders? Maybe, maybe not. Depends on your market. But nevertheless, at least you still have the app. Still not as good as multi-apping. I'm not saying you should bait Grubhub into deactivating you or restricting your schedule access. I'm saying in reality, no matter what program that Grubhub is providing, it is still not as good as multi-apping. No matter how much the guaranteed minimum is in most cases, you're better off just diversifying your gig portfolio and having multiple apps available to accept orders from. Are you on DoorDash? Are you on UberEats? Have you expanded your niches into grocery delivery with Instacart, with Walmart Spark? What about package delivery with Amazon Flex, Veho, or Jitsu, which used to be Haxel Hire? There are a lot of opportunities. You just gotta keep your eyes open and be open-minded. Develop an exit strategy. Here's the reality. The gig economy is an income bridge to what would be a long-term goal. It's not the goal. These gigs can deactivate you, restrict access to some of the most pertinent aspects of the app, or just not be viable over time. So it is important to develop an exit strategy just in case something were to come up in the future. Maybe it's an online business of some kind. Maybe it's a brick and mortar business of some kind. Maybe it's real estate investing, stocks, whatever the case may be. It is your responsibility to look out for you because no one's going to look out for you better than you are. Did I miss anything? Is there something else about schedule restrictions on Grubhub that I have yet to cover in this video? Let me know in the comments. Let's make sure that anybody and everybody that is curious about schedule restriction or knows something about schedule restriction that I don't, knows every perspective possible so that way they can make the most amount of money in the least amount of time in the safest possible way. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time.